everybody to the Single on Stilettos show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single on Stilettos. Today we have on our show Dr. Diana Kirshner, and she is the best-selling author and CEO of LoveIn90Days.com, and I'm so excited to have her here today because she is one of my favorite guests. She just has a wealth of information when it comes to love and relationships. And today we're talking about the most important thing you can do to find love. But before we jump into it, Dr. Diana, can you please tell our audience a little bit about you and how you got into this business?
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, I had a hard time finding love. That's how I got into it.
I think that happens to everybody in this business.
And so, I went on a long quest, and I wound up getting a PhD in psychology and studying everything I could find about love and the research, and then wound up doing a therapy with lots and lots and lots of singles, and then coaching, and that's where it went. Because it really started with me, and I'm happy to say that I'm happily married and have helped many, actually tens of thousands of people in their journey towards love.
Awesome. Well, let's jump into this topic. The most important thing that a woman can do to find love. What is that, Dr. Diana?
Certainly for me, and what I've seen with so many people is to actually find what I call a love mentor. And the thing is that we're out there in the journey towards love, and we find it hard to understand what we want, what we're doing to sabotage ourselves, how we're, isolating, or we're being too picky, or jumping into bed too soon, or whatever we're doing. We kind of have some vague notions, but we really need somebody who loves us, who thinks we're fantastic, who knows that we can create the relationship of our dreams, to help us, to understand ourselves and to know where to go. And it's kind of like a practical fairy godmother. There really are fairy godmothers. I had one. It was a male fairy godmother. The only reason I have had any success in love is I had a fairy godmother, whether it's male or female. He looked at me, he said, "You can do it." You can create, beyond your dreams, actually beyond your dreams. Beyond. It's not just like your dream relationship, because the other thing we do is we put a ceiling barrier on what we think is possible. You know what I'm saying? So, I would be happy if I just had a man who was loyal, who didn't cheat. Or, I would just be happy if I could have a man who commits. You know what I'm saying? But we don't think, and I could have even more, And that is the challenge when people come into our love mentoring program is, they have an experience that they could have more in a surprising and amazing way. That's what's so thrilling.
Well, that's very true. But I want to bring up a point that you talked about in the very beginning about how women can sometimes either sabotage a relationship, or they sleep with a man too soon, or I forgot what else you said, but let's talk about those two things. Because what I find is, first of all, I get the whole sabotaging thing. A lot of women do that, and I will admit I used to do that too. And it sounds like it's crazy, ladies. I know you're thinking, well, why would I sabotage a relationship? Trust me, I used to do it in my 20s, and I work with a lot of women that actually do it, and you don't know it until you start working with somebody. But the whole sleeping with somebody too soon, you don't know until you're bouncing things off another person.
Exactly.
To realize that they tell you, you know what, you shouldn't have slept with him that soon because there was no emotional connection for him, and it was just sex to him. And because I always get women, and Dr. Diana, I'm sure this happens to you too, is women will come to you after the fact. They'll say, I slept with him and then he disappeared. What happened? I don't understand. And they're so upset. They're so hurt and they don't understand why. And can you speak to that, Dr. Diana?
Absolutely. The thing is that men who have some, selfhood, they're really kind of our winner men, you might say. They really want to be able to win a woman and to get to know her and to appreciate all the nuances and all the beautiful energies that she has and the gifts and everything else. And jumping into bed just kind of subverts that whole process of him coming to court you, coming to learn about you, coming to claim you, coming to choose you, and it starts such an anxiety. Because you don't know each other and you're overly intimate, and I've got the oxytocin going, which is the bonding biochemical, and you're nervous, and so, and everything takes on so much meaning, whether he's text you or called, he doesn't, it's just so much, it's so charged with anxiety. It's just terrible. It's like kind of like a recipe for disaster. It really
Exactly. And I've heard women say this, and this drives me crazy. And I want to get your take on this, Dr. Diana. Is a lot of women think that, you know, they're dating a guy for a little bit. Whether it doesn't matter how long, whether it's 3 dates, 3 months, or whatever it is. And they'll say, so I slept with him because I knew if I slept with him, that would seal the deal, and then he'd want to be with me all the time. And tell ladies why this is a huge mistake, that men don't have that feeling.
Well, you know, it's an act born of sometimes out of even desperation. It's like, I have to do this to get him, and you can't really make anybody love you. You cannot. What you have to do is basically see who's in it for the long haul, who's in it who really appreciates you. You know, I just got an email that one of the women in our love mentoring program just got engaged. And, you know, she stopped doing this business of meeting a guy, you know, and he kind of meets the criteria. You know, she wanted a doctor, she wanted this and that. And then 5-hour dates. 5-hour dates, sleeping over.
Oh, on the first date?
Oh, second, third, you know, and you know, and she stopped doing that. She stopped doing that, and she actually empowered herself. And she said, you know, whoever's gonna come to me and want to be crazy about me and want to court me and choose me, I mean, that's the person I'm going to open my heart to and my body to. That's the person I'm going to open to. And that's what worked for her.
Yeah, sleeping with the guy on a second or third date, I think, is just way too soon. You just don't know the person. As much as you may be attracted to him physically and want to sleep with him, you just don't know him. And like you talked about, is about giving away your body to just whoever. I think it's something that you really have to start holding as something special for the right person. It's not to say that you have to remain a virgin for the rest of your life, because no, you can't, okay? And especially if you're in your 40s or 50s, you can't. But it's just not giving away so freely is what I would say, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it's really about empowering yourself.
Exactly. And Dr. Diana, can you talk about, because again, we touched upon it lightly, is about how women sabotage relationships and they just don't know it?
Well, you know, I mean, that's one thing we were talking about just now, was called what I call a flame out, but there are many other kinds of patterns. For example, you know, the not perfect, I'll pass pattern, which I describe in Love in 90 Days. And that is a situation where you're just scanning for one thing that's wrong in the guy, you know, and it's a deal breaker when he could be absolutely fabulous, and he could be willing to grow, and he could actually be help to outgrow that problem, whatever it is, or that deficiency. You know, so you give up perfectly good guys, and sometimes when you do that and you see him with your girlfriend or whatever getting married, you're like, damn.
That's true. It's very true. But there's another way that I've seen women sabotage relationships as the relationship goes along, is that she'll pick fights with him needlessly, and it just gets to the point where she's just basically sabotaging it, right?
Yeah, well, that has to do with kind of like a fear of engulfment. You know, sometimes you have a feeling like you're going to get swallowed up, or you know, overtaken by a relationship. That you may feel like you have to give yourself up to be in a relationship. A lot of women do that. They have to be caretakers. They have to forget their girlfriends, they forget their lives, and sometimes when that kind of dynamic is happening, you can get actually resentful of the guy and it seems like you're all swallowed up and you're confined or whatever. So that's one reason to pick fights, and it's really, really about a fear of intimacy. That's really it. And
Yeah.
that's where a love mentor comes in handy, because if the person knows what they're doing, you'll actually act that way with them too, not just the man. You will act that way with them. You will pick fights with them.
Exactly.
Close relationship with another person. Now, a girlfriend won't necessarily be able to help you overcome that, but a person who is really savvy and knows more about what's going on and understands fear of love and what that is can actually call you on it and say, you know what? You're getting bitchy with me. And guess what? You keep up that bitchiness, you ain't going to have anybody.
Exactly. And you know what? I just want to touch upon this because you brought up the point about talking to a girlfriend. And one of the things that I want to point out to women, because I know we all do this as women, is we call up our girlfriend and say, oh, I'm dating this guy and this is going on. Give me some advice, right? Big mistake. Big mistake. Don't do that with your girlfriends or your family members either. And I'll tell you why, and why you need someone who's a third party, like Dr. Diana was talking about, a love mentor, is because a love mentor is unbiased. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear, whereas friends and family members, they're either going to tell you what you want to hear, number one, or they're going to tell you what you don't want to hear based on whether or not they like the person that you're dating.
Exactly.
So you want someone who is unbiased. And what we as women tend to do too, ladies, that you don't realize, is you kind of tell somebody like your best friend or a family member about what's going on because you just want them to revalidate how you actually feel. And so then you feel like you're right in what you're feeling. Well, again, it's not doing you any favors because they're not giving you the best advice that you can get. You
Yeah.
need to get it from an unbiased person, right, Dr. Diana?
Absolutely, absolutely. And women do something with each other that's called sharing troubles talk. It's sharing troubles talk. So think about it. When you talk to your girlfriend, you say, oh, this man disappointed me. She's going to say, oh, a man disappointed me that way too. It's sharing troubles, right? And
Yeah.
it actually amplifies in your mind the negative thought that you have about, oh, God, all men are jerks, right? You may, you have what I call sometimes relationship killer beliefs, right? One of them,
Exactly.
all men are jerks. And so if you get into sharing troubles talk with somebody, oh, he cheated, oh, this one cheated, and that one cheated, and it can amplify your relationship killer beliefs and your cynicism and your pessimism, and really hurt you in terms of being able to take a stand for real, true love.
Exactly. And ladies, being in the trenches and with Debbie Downer down there and commiserating about men and how all men are whatever it is that you think they are is not going to help you find love. It's being proactive and figuring out what's going on that's really going to help you find love. So these have been some great tips. So Dr. Diana, tell our audience how they can find you.
Well, I'm at loveit90days.com, and I'm really thrilled to say that at this point we can offer actually a free love mentoring coaching session to the people who are watching. I have a team of most awesome love mentor coaches. These are the fairy godmothers I would go to if I had a problem with love. They're handpicked and selected, and at loveit90days.com, we have it right now so that by phone or Skype, anyone in the world can have a 40-minute consultation with one of them and ask their most pressing questions.
Awesome. Well, ladies, go take advantage of that. And just mention to Diana that you saw her on Single and Stilettos, and you can get that free session. So you should really take advantage of it.
Yes, please mention Single and Stilettos, because sometimes we actually get inundated with requests and we have to stop them. But if you mention Single and Stilettos, we'll be able to actually give you your free session. So just
Awesome.
go to loveit90days.com and press on the coaching tab.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. If you like our show, it's available both in video format and podcast format. If you like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. And if you'd like to get our podcast, you can download it from iTunes. And if you would like to get our free report on the top 10 secrets on what attracts a man and what turns him off, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.